You can look up your first purchases on Amazon. It's pretty hysterical. If you go back and look at the first thing you ordered, mine was a book, 1998, and it was a book called How the Internet Works. Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
I think it's magical, and I think you're going to be able to do some really cool things on there.
Yeah.
I don't know what. And we stumbled across this idea for hammocks. Niche product, hard to find, that had a pretty high average order value that nobody really knew where you go to get them.
Mm.
And we thought, well, this would be kind of cool. Let's create a hammock store, but let's make you feel like I picked you up by the lapels and I dropped you into a hammock store where you're like, oh, God, look at this. Every hammock in the world is here. But you got to have a good description and you got to capture them in like 30 seconds, just like you did with the grocer, although it's a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Describe it, great pictures, make them feel like they're laying in the hammock, and then all of a sudden people started to buy.
Yeah.
And so it was really a good experience without having that selling experience. If I would have been more just financially oriented, I'm not sure I would have had that same empathy and appeal for the customer. And so we started to sell hammocks, and one day a guy calls and says, I got my hammock. Thanks a lot. Really love it. Thanks. Appreciate it. Because I was customer service too, much like you, right? You're doing everything. And he goes, do you guys sell porch swings? And I said, well, and I reach over and I kick my business partner. Our office was at Barnes & Noble.
Okay. Yeah.
At Crossroads.
Yeah.
And I kick him and I go, look up porch swings. And so he's like, it's available. The domain was available. So we buy porchswings.com. And I talked to this guy and I was like, so tell me what you would use your porch swing for. I had this little conversation, end up selling him a porch swing. And now we're in the porch swing business. We drive across Omaha, look in people's backyards, and it's like, oh, bird feeders, Adirondack chairs, patio furniture, patio umbrellas, everything in the backyard. We bought every domain that you could possibly think of, and that was how we stumbled into it. But we were solving a problem initially,
yeah,
based around how do you find an obscure product like a hammock or a porch swing? Like if you went to Nebraska Furniture Mart, you'd wander around there and they'd go, what are you doing? It's February. We don't sell porch swings. And we thought, you probably can sell porch swings.
Yeah.
Because on the internet, nobody cares what season it is.
Now, I want to go back to the customer experience bit for a second, because something I'm really curious on, especially in the early days of the internet, how are you convincing people to go to the internet to buy porch swings, to buy hammocks, when you're in a town that has the famous Nebraska Furniture Mart, where you can try before you buy, and say like, no, you want people, you said it, that feel really good about being in this ecosystem you created, and you're highlighting, I mean, I imagine it's highlighting conveniency over anything. I don't know. Yep. So how are you creating that experience that deters people from going to?
So the physical experience, number one, was going into the Mart or Walmart or Target or maybe Lowe's. And you go in and you say, hey, do you guys have hammocks? That's typically the first response. I think so. Go maybe back in the garden area. And you go back there and there's maybe 2 hammocks. They're not hung up and they're in a box and they're on a shelf. And so you're looking like this. Hammock, 8-foot hammock. What does that even mean? Excuse me? You get somebody to, what is this? Will this fit my trees? Because my trees are 10 feet apart. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, bring it back. That was the typical experience at the time. And we thought, well, maybe we can do better. And so the descriptions we wrote with the photographs were people laying in them, with kids laying in them, with the sun setting, with a lemonade sitting by the tree, with people fanning themselves, with the shade, and then a description. Picture yourself. It's 4:00 on a Friday, and the breeze is blowing softly through the trees above you. You have your favorite book, and your hammock is gently swaying in the breeze. Okay, mind connection photo. And not just one photo, because the other experience online at the time was just a photo, and it was like maybe this big.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to kind of go, I can't even see what that is. So we made these big, colorful photos with people in them with great descriptions. That was it. And people liked that, we found. The time they spent on the site was long, 3 to 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Meaning they weren't just like, what? Click, no, gone. Click, gone. Just stay on the site, look at it. So describing it, making them feel comfortable, and painting that vision